1. For context, I work at a popular office supply store that prints photographs on demand, keeping things vague for obvious reasons. On this particular day, in the lead up to Christmas, one of our self-serve customer printers had started printing with lines throughout the image, and a magenta hue over the entire photo. Usually, we have a dedicated concierge that handles the self-serve machines. However, she had been put in a different department for the holidays, and a trainee was placed in her position instead. So instead of serving the customers at the counter and doing that large format and detailed printing jobs, I was stuck trying to fix a machine in the middle of a rush. After 30 minutes of cleaning and restarting, the only other 6-inch printer stopped accepting photos. This meant I now had to send every 6-inch photo order to the printer behind the counter while I worked on the self-serves. This also meant that the wait time for photos was at least 30 minutes. Then in comes a woman with her family, specifically her husband, 1-year-old, and 2 11-day-old infants. After explaining to her that the machines aren't responding and I'll need to divert the order, which now has a 30-minute wait, she decides verbally abusing me and my trainee is the best solution. It wasn't. She then insists that since she already paid for her photo and because it's our error, she shouldn't have to wait half an hour and I should prioritize her order and move it to the front of the queue. Even if I had wanted to do so, it physically wasn't possible. The software doesn't allow me to change the order of the job submitted, and everyone currently in the queue were customers I had diverted anyway. Eventually, I had enough of her shit and walked away so I could grab the work phone and call IT to try and resolve the issue. During this time, she went down to the counter and started yelling at the other staff about the entire situation before being, reluctantly, due to her attitude, refunded by the HOD. Afterwards, when one of the managers were called over once her husband started getting involved, she lied by saying she never yelled or raised her voice once. She did, and even poked our trainee on the shoulder multiple times throughout the ordeal, during her outbursts. Christmas is the worst time of the year to be working a profession that deals with printing photos and photo gifts. But the person directly making your order isn't the one you want to piss off. I hate it here. Until Christmas is over, at least. 2. So, it's a question I've had in the back of my mind ever since this happened around March. Am I the asshole for expecting candy to not be 3 months out of date? I got a coupon on Uber Eats for a CVS near me, and used it to order some candy. I ordered 6 family-sized things of Kit Kat Minis. That wasn't the brand, but it had the same amount of candy in the bag. I open one and begin snacking, and something is immediately wrong. It's stale and just doesn't taste right. So I look at the date, and it had expired 6 months ago. I checked the others, and all 6 of them had expired 6 months ago. After contacting Uber Eats and being told to instead contact the store, I'm told by a manager to just come in one day and they'll get me sorted. It's a bit annoying to have to Uber all the way there, but hey, it's retail and I get that sometimes you can't do things over the phone, or simply just can't do something without someone being at the store. About 3 days later, I come in with a receipt and I'm given the choice of store credit or cash. I thought it'd be a hassle for everyone if I did cash, so I do store credit. In total, I get 8 items of candy from different brands, all of which are different sizes. While waiting for my Uber, who was like 15 minutes away at the time, I decided to check the dates of my candy. I figured it was just a simple one-off mistake and look at them. And I'm shocked to find that all but 2 of them are over 3 months past expiration. I go back up to the cashier and show him the dates and give him the receipt, this time just opting for cash. As he's processing the return, I let my anxiety get me and accidentally say, "Probably should have double-checked the date." He says in a very rude tone, "Yeah, you should have." Like, excuse me? Back when I worked at a store that had chip and candy aisles a little over a year ago, we were required to check dates daily. And while I can understand an item or two being a week or so out of date, it ain't my job to make sure the shelves aren't filled to the brim of expired product. And there was definitely no need to say it in such a rude tone. So, while still waiting on my Uber, I decided to check the candy aisle again, and I kid you not when I say almost every single item was several months out of date. Almost the entire aisle was nothing but expired candy. So when I got home, I immediately took a survey and told their corporate what had happened, but made sure to give most of the staff a glowing review as I could, aside from that one cashier. I feel a bit bad since everyone, save for that one cashier, was super chill and nice about it, but having an entire aisle filled to the brim with candy that expired several months ago just shouldn't happen, in my eyes anyways. What do you guys think? Should I have just stayed quiet and let management deal with it, or should I have done something else? Health reasons note, as many of you know, I used to work in retail. None of the staff, especially not the management in that store, deserved any kind of glowing review, because clearly none of them are checking or rotating the products. Literally every member of staff is at fault in that story. There's no excuse for having products that are months out of date on a shelf. It just should never happen. 3. The following story took place about 15 years ago. Wow, I feel old. I was fresh out of university, and during that time, I had been working a retail job. All my work experience had been centered around retail, and in the end, I decided to pursue a career in management. In truth, what I was up against was an uphill battle. Managers who had managed me felt I wasn't cut out for management, even though I already managed others and knew the operations inside and out. I started to apply for management positions, and the response was always the same. I lacked experience. One interview hit me really hard. I applied for an assistant management role for a cell phone retailer, and the interviewing DM basically told me that my education meant nothing, and that my experience meant nothing, and offered me a sales role. I had never walked out of an interview before, but this was one of those moments. I finally got a job as an assistant manager of a pharmacy, and was able to move up the ranks quickly, managing my own store in about 16 months. Then one day I caught an employee stealing, and I was forced to let her go. She cried, stating how was she supposed to make rent. I don't know what happened, but something clicked in me. I didn't understand the logic. This was going to be my life, dealing with people who felt they were smarter than they were, or were just entitled. I was a glorified babysitter. I quit the following week and decided to take an office job. Since I lacked experience, I took the first job that came my way, at an IT service desk role. It turned out to be the best decision of my life. Over the span of 2 years, I learned how to manage multiple clients, projects, and breakdown requirements. I eventually made the jump to regulatory, and now work in an industry that's allowed me to travel the world and move to another country. That was something that was never possible in the world of retail. An expression someone told me recently really resonated with me. You aren't paid for what you know, you are paid based on how hard you are to replace. That's the key with retail. You are filled with these people all unaware of their own imposter syndrome. All on edge, because there's always a candidate moving up the ranks that's a threat. It breeds insecurity and cutthroat mentality. This is the reason I was never promoted. It was not that I lacked experience or couldn't do the job, it's that people in charge didn't want to see a person below them moving up. This is the culture in retail. About once a week, I see a post on legal advice from people stating how they're getting screwed in a retail job, everyone giving them advice on how to deal with it legally. In the end, I just want to scream, leave, get out of retail. Everyone complains about how they're number one and not respected. Yeah, that's the norm in this industry. It always starts the same and ends the same with every job. You will make the bare minimum because the skill sets required are in absolute abundance and always will be. It's specifically designed that way. If you want to move up in your career, find something else, get experience in anything. When I eventually left my management role, I was making 45,000 Canadian dollars a year. I took a massive pay cut going to 32,000 a year. In the span of 11 years, gaining experience and changing jobs every 3 years, and I make close to 150,000. It's not to say it's been easy, but that wouldn't have happened had I not left retail. To those of you still in it, if you're young, use this experience. Learn from it and get out. If you're older, it's never too late. I was 27 when I left retail, and it was honestly the best decision of my life. 4. Have you ever had someone walk into your workplace and can just tell they're gonna be the devil? Enter Karen, around 35, and her daughter, around 8. Karen doesn't look like she's a destructive type, but easily the bitchy type. They see me, a shift manager, 21-year-old man, working the front counter, and I immediately smile. "Hello, how can I help you two?" Karen bends down to her daughter and asks her what she would like, and she responded with a banana split. Surprisingly, I saw the devil smile and say, "Great idea." Karen turns to me and her smile wipes away. 2 banana splits. "Of course, ma'am, that will be $13.56. I extend my hand to accept the cash, and she plops $20 on the counter and avoids my hand. I grab the 20 off the counter and give her the change back in her hand. You can see the bitchiness already. Anyway, I begin the making of the banana split, and I do it with a smile. I especially want the daughter to see I'm enjoying myself because I understand the magic when it comes to ice cream for children. So I make 2 splits with 2 bananas, 3 ice cream balls each, strawberries, pineapple, chocolate, spoon, done. I slide the 2 delicious splits to them, and Karen frowns. "Where's the peanuts?" Now, Dairy Queen does offer peanuts for an additional 25 cents a scoop. However, she didn't ask for nuts. Now, it's clear she thought it comes with nuts, even though it wasn't in the picture. Now, I know this woman is gonna fuss if I tell her this. After 3 years in the business, you just know. I don't want to deal with this complaint. It's only 25 cents. After all, worst case, I take it out of my paycheck, no biggie. Manager executive decision commence. Play. "Oh my god, you're absolutely right, ma'am. I forgot the nuts. 1 second. I completely apologize. My mistake." I take the splits and begin to scoop the crunchy almonds onto these sweet treats, and in this moment, this exact unfortunate moment, my GM walks around the corner. "Oh my god, Louis 1541, did you charge her for those nuts?" In my head, I'm thinking, fuck, sorry, Rex, fuck. "No, I did not, GM. Some of you are going to ask why I didn't lie here, and that's because it shows on the screen. All she would have to do is look up to tell I was lying." "Ma'am, you have to pay 25 cents extra for nuts." "How dare you make me pay for nuts? Do you know who I am?" "Ma'am, the nuts are extra. You have to pay for them." "I'm not going to pay for what's mine. If you charge me for these nuts, I'm going to call my brother who shuts down restaurants who do the wrong thing." WTF. "Ma'am, I don't care who you are. You have to pay extra for the nuts." At this moment, in front of her daughter, mind you, she walks over to all the customers' tables and like a cartoon starts slamming their food onto the ground and proclaiming, "You don't want to eat here. This restaurant's ripping people off." Some customers make it out of the restaurant with their food, but most get their food slammed onto the ground. She also starts smashing the displays in front of her daughter, who is standing there crying at this point. Now let me tell you something, I'm very lucky to have an awesome GM. She's super understanding and a very cool person. My favorite coworker, and this moment continues to blossom that. She looks at me in this moment with a WTF expression, and I nod my head at her. She then changes to an "I'm really sorry" expression, and I shrug. We then both spring into action and start yelling, "You need to leave right now," and start escorting her out of the building. Lucky for us, she grabs her daughter, really hard by the wrist, honestly, super sad, and storms out and starts yelling at people in the drive-thru the same things while daughter is in tow. Call the police. Of course, she leaves before they get there, like always. Just wish I could have seen the bitch tased, replaced everyone's food and cleaned up the mess. While the GM helped me clean up the lobby, she leaned over and said, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I promise I won't doubt your judgment ever again. I'll trust you got it under control." Thanks, GM. I really appreciate it. 5. Shortly after graduating high school, I began working at the Clown Man fast food chain. My first few shifts, I was shadowing a trainer, as she was teaching me how to run the front. She clearly would have rather been anywhere else. Once the rush of customers died down, and I no longer needed to be at the register, I asked her what my tasks should be. She said I could clean and organize the front counter. I cleaned off the counter pretty quick, as I had already been doing that between customers. So I asked her what else I could do. She rolled her eyes and said, "If you see something dirty, clean it." Then walked away to chat with some co-workers. Cue malicious compliance. The lobby in front of me was a mess with overflowing trash cans, so I began emptying them and taking them to the back. The lobby was L-shaped, so there was a side which was out of view of the front register. Once I had emptied all the front area cans, I went to the other side. I had emptied 2 of those trash cans, then rounded the corner to find my trainer at the register with a customer. As soon as she saw me, she looked pissed and asked, "Where were you?" I showed her the trash, and then she told me to wait in the back for her. A moment later, she reappears with a fire under her ass saying, "You are not supposed to abandon your station. What were you doing?" As I was freshly 18 at the time, I meekly told her, "You told me to clean whatever was dirty." She was apparently very offended and told me I needed to drop the attitude, then stormed off to tattle to the manager. It took a moment to collect myself, as I was on the verge of angry tears. Then I made my way back to the front register. The trainer was off to the side talking to co-workers and the manager, clearly complaining about me. As she saw me, she shot me some icy daggers, and then the manager left her to come talk to me. The manager was nice enough, and just said, "For future, if there are no customers, clean the front counter, even if it's already clean, so you can be there for customers." I thanked her for telling me. In the 4 months of my employment there, I was never scheduled at the same time as that trainer again, until one of my last shifts. I got hired at a government job, so I was very excited to start making some decent money. During one of my last shifts, I guess the trainer heard I was leaving. She came up to me, and not so subtly, condescendingly said, "Leaving us so soon, are we?" I played dumb and said, "Yeah, I'm so excited to start working," and I told her where. "It'll be a nice increase in income." The way her face dropped and the look of angry jealousy that spread across her was priceless. Eat my dust, loser. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, episode 192. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, do hit that like button. If you want early access to the videos, then you can support me through my Patreon. Just click the link in the description, it'll take you right to the Patreon page. If you enjoyed the video, you can also leave a tip. Do that by hitting the heart with a $sign in the middle underneath the video. That's just an option, you don't have to do that, but I appreciate it if you do. Right, well, as I'm recording this latest batch of videos, it is currently the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. Does not feel like Christmas to me, it really doesn't. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, maybe I'm too old to appreciate Christmas anymore. Sorry, but I'm sipping a Red Bull. But, yeah, I think I've become more crotchety regarding holidays as I'm getting older. I sometimes get little pangs as, I miss that, I miss how that used to feel, and I do like when the Christmas decorations are up, but I stopped putting a tree up years ago, so much hassle, so messy as well. Of course, next year I'll have a cat in the house, so I don't think it's going to be a good idea to put a tree up then. We'll see. It might be worth it. We'll see. We'll see how he is with the tree and of it all. Anyway, I suppose I should have question of the day, shouldn't I? Okay, so let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, let's just keep it fun. What is something cool, be it on YouTube or otherwise, I'm mentioning YouTube because it's something I discovered this year, that you came across? It's been there for a while, but you'd never heard of it before. I actually came across a YouTube channel. It's called Dr. Todd Grande because the guy's Dr. Todd Grande, and he does videos about mostly true crime, sometimes about other things. He came on my radar for his Amityville breakdown. He has this very dry delivery, and so when he sneaks jokes in, they sneak up on you, so they hit all the better. And I've really been enjoying his videos. Not all the subject matter is very pleasant to listen to, because much of it is true crime related, but he does a good job of communicating the facts in a way that is entertaining. in spite of the nature of some of the subject matter. I also came across a channel called Video Games, except it's spelled Videogames. And what I've been watching on there is just a few videos that appeal to me, but they've been doing like really long, like hours-long breakdowns of cartoons, specifically for the ones I'm enjoying: The Simpsons, Futurama, Rick and Morty, and I think there's a Venture Brothers one as well. So those are the ones that I was interested in. But you guys might find other things you like on the channel. Definitely worth a look, I think. And it's kept me entertained and kind of helped me drift off to sleep in some nights when I've perhaps been a bit stressed. There's a few more, but I think I'll leave it there for now. So why don't you share some of yours with me? I'll look forward to seeing them in a comment below. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.